Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Black Financial Channel. That's theblackfinancialchannel.com. And today I wanted to talk to you guys about home prices. Home prices have skyrocketed this year. It's more expensive now than it ever has been to own a home. Home ownership is it's going up. And what's crazy is that it's not because the price of a home is going up, right? It's not because the prices of the houses are going up. It's because the payments are going up. I just read an article in Bloomberg today that basically said that the cost of paying a mortgage is the highest that it's ever been. It's literally gone up about 29% relative to last year. And a lot of experts are concerned about how this is going to play out, particularly for millennials and those who are born after the millennial generation. A lot of young people are struggling to buy homes, and a lot of this is because the cost, the monthly cost has gotten to the point of being defined as unaffordable. Now, as I move on, do me a favor. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Give me a yes if you can hear me okay, because I want to make sure my connection's good. I'm here in Los Angeles. I just finished the Black Wealth Boot Camp, and we had a great time here in California. And we were talking about wealth all weekend. We were going through my new book, The Ten Commandments of Black Economic Power, and talking about those issues in terms of how wealth decisions affect our families. So anyway, in this article, they basically claim that the mortgage cost of a home is a little over $2,500. That's for the average house, and I'm sure that that a lot of young people can't afford uh, houses with a cost like that, right? It's way too expensive for them. So a lot of them are stuck. They're going to be renters forever. And one of the things you should know is that home ownership is one of the most important keys to wealth. That's the next thing that you do when you want to go from poor to middle class. If you want to go from poor to middle class, the number one pathway to get there is home ownership. So a lot of people that are poor or that are born poor, a lot more are going to stay poor. A lot of people that are middle class, that are born middle class, are going to stay middle class. And so what this means is that the hurdle is higher, but you can still jump the hurdle. You just have to commit to jumping the hurdle. If you believe in jumping the hurdle, if you believe you can jump it, you still can. It just might require a lot more discipline, a lot more commitment in order for you to get there. So here's some other stuff going on with this. I'm going to pull up some data for you, and I want to make sure you guys can hear me okay. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Give me a yes if you can hear me, because I literally can't see your comments on my screen. So I'm going to go on the hope system that you guys can actually hear me. Give me a yes if I'm coming through okay. I'm actually doing this via audio out of necessity, but I wanted to share and talk this. Okay, all right. So I do actually, I open up my laptop, so I do see some comments. I see Avani, Pucci, Rivers, and Casey and Esco. Thank you so much for helping with me with this. Y'all know how it is when I get on the road. I end up having some weird audio video issues. And also, please hit that thumbs up button, thumbs up, share. Make sure you also subscribe and hit the notification bell. So here is what is also interesting. So if you look, I looked at this article in the UK Daily Mail, and they said that there's now what they call the Great Rental Revolution. There's no revolution in renting. That's kind of weird. They would call it the rental revolution. That's like the weirdest thing I've ever heard. And they said that more than 3 million Americans making over 150,000 are still renting rather than buying a home due to soaring prices, inflation, and mortgage rates. Real estate developers are responding by buying up single family homes and turning them into rental properties or building amenity filled apartments. Many people who can afford to buy homes are choosing not to because they don't think the price they would have to pay currently is worth the investment. In total, there are about 44 million rented households by the end of 2021, according to U.S. Census data, with median income sitting at $71,000. So effectively, even rich people are doing this. Even people that can actually afford a mortgage payment are choosing not to own homes. I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to start just with this comment. I think it's a mistake to not try to become a homeowner. I know that the prices are up. I know that it's hard to get a home, and I know that a lot of people, a lot of us can't do it. It's tough to do. I get it. If you're in the category where it would be difficult or impossible to save up for the down payment, or you got some work to do on your credit score, I understand. My heart is with you on that, especially if you're young. 'Cause I know when you're young, there's a lot of work that has to be done. But what I am going to tell you is this. What I am going to say is this. Can anybody tell me any time in American history where home prices over any 10-year period have actually gone down? Give me a yes or no. Can you think of any time in history? where I could, buy a house in 1970 and then it's cheaper in 1980. Was that true? What about 1940 to 1950? You think if I bought a house in 1940, I would be able to pay less for that house in 1950? 1920. Let's go to 1920. What if I bought a house in 1920? I mean, 1930, 29 is the Great Depression. You think I could have bought houses cheaper on average in 1930 than I could in 1920? Give me a yes or no. Answer me in the chat, please. I'm making a point. So just the same way you could not buy a house. The answer is no, by the way. That's the answer. So the same way you could not buy a house cheaper in 1940 than you could in 1930. On average, you could not buy a house cheaper in 1960 than you could in 1950. You could not buy a house cheaper in 1910 than you could in 1900. You will not, I repeat, will not be able to buy a house, most houses, on average, cheaper in 2033 than you bought one for in 2023. And that's just a fact. I'm not here to hate on your personal decision. I totally get it though. I went a long time without buying a home because I had a lot of tax write-offs with my business. I was invested in stocks. I didn't want to live there, so for a long time. So I understand, right? I get it. The rent buy decision. Sometimes you choose to rent for practical reasons. I'm not here to knock it, but if the cost of a home is the reason you're not buying, I'm here to beg you to reconsider that decision because even though inflation sucks and the prices are going up, the whole price of the homes are not really going up. It's really the price of the mortgage that's going up, by the way. I guarantee you that in a few years, if you buy a house now, on average, that price will be higher. The value of that property will be higher. It's going to cost more to get in. If you think it's expensive now, wait till later. They say, if you think you're lonely now, do you remember that song? If you think you're lonely now, just wait until tonight, girl. That's my terrible singing. But if you think it's expensive now, just wait until 2033. You're going to be wishing you could have paid what you're paying right now. It's just true. If you could have had a time machine and went back to 2013, it would be crazy. Think about it. Imagine if you had a time machine and you went back to 2013 and talked to your 2013 self, and your 2013 self was like, woo, these houses are too expensive. It's so much more expensive than it was in 2012. I'm not buying a house because they cost too much. What would you say to yourself? What would you say? You would say, no, don't do it. You would say, buy that damn house. I don't care how much it costs. Or let's get us a property. Not any property, of course, but let's take our time. Let's pick something out because if you think it's expensive now, it's going to be more expensive later, and that is typically how asset prices work. Inflation does not go backward. The United States is not a country that has a long history of deflation. Deflation is where prices go down. Inflation is where prices go up. You've always had inflation. It's just varying degrees of inflation. So what I'm simply trying to say, and I promise you I won't sing anymore, is I'm asking you to consider the fact that even though other people are scared to make a move, a lot of people can't see further than next year. A lot of people are thinking about what's happening right now as if this is going to be the world forever. If you are in a position to begin that process of investing in real estate, I encourage you to do it because every study that I went through when I was on the faculty at Syracuse University pretty much told me that ownership of property was a massive key to wealth. Right next to that was ownership of stocks. Stocks have been a huge key to wealth. And I'm not talking about like the last decade. The last decade was especially good, but really any decade. Any decade. Stock ownership has always been the number one pathway for anybody who's gone from middle class to upper class. So that's my 2 cents. I didn't want to take much of your time. I just wanted to share that with you. Home buying is expensive now, I know, and it sucks right now. You've got a bunch of idiots running your government. You got a bunch of smart people. You got some smart people running the Federal Reserve who are still making some questionable decisions. I'm not going to make fun of them the way I make fun of your government officials because they're not the government officials. The politicians are flat out stupid. But the people that run the Fed, they're just victims of the fact that economic data is hardly scientific as we like to make it seem. It's not as predictable as we like to believe. So there's a lot of guesswork that goes into what the Federal Reserve has to do and how they make decisions. So the people at the Fed are not as dumb as your government officials. But at the end of the day, there are some fundamental truths you can lean on that will help you and your family build wealth. And I want to see you win. I want to see you succeed. I want to see you wealthy. So if you could, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. And also, do not forget, I have a new book out. It's called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. I love talking about it because I believe in this book. I really I put my foot into this book. It is now a #1 bestseller on Amazon in the public finance category. Thank you all for helping to do that. It really actually will put you and your family, if you memorize and study these 10 principles, just these 10 basic rules, your family will be in a position to build generational wealth that will last for 200 years. This is the black superpower. This is what's going to make us more powerful than Jewish people, Asian people, white people, anybody else. Not all people, but just smart B1 people. Intelligent black people are going to run the world. I guarantee it. So if you'd like to go take a look, feel free to go to my website. It's boycewatkins.com. Or you can also go to Amazon and take a look. And also, if you'd like to get notifications when I go live periodically, just text the word Boyce to 31996. Text Boyce to 31996. And periodically I'll notify you when I go live. So sorry about all the static. I'm going to hang up now because it sounds like that's God's way of telling me to shut up. So have a good day, everybody. God bless you. Love you. I'll see you soon. Take care now. Peace.